If you want to sell some hydrogen-powered units, it's as simple as installing the other version of the engine.
What if I told you that the world's most famous diesel engine brand just dropped a gasoline bombshell? No, this isn't some late April Fool's joke. Cummins, the name that's practically synonymous with diesel power, just flipped the script with their first ever gasoline engine, the B6.7 Octane. Imagine a powerhouse that delivers up to 300 horsepower and a staggering 660 pound-feet of torque, all running on regular 87 octane fuel. That's a diesel-like grunt with gasoline simplicity. But here's the kicker. It's EPA 2027 and CARB certified, meaning it's ready to roll in the toughest regulatory markets like California. So why now? Why gasoline? And what does this mean for diesel's reign? Buckle up, my friends. This could be the start of a life-altering new era in medium-duty trucks and beyond. Cummins' diesel royalty goes to gasoline. For nearly a century, Cummins has ruled the diesel engine kingdom like no other. When you hear Cummins, you don't think fuel-efficient grocery getter or eco-friendly town cruiser, right? No, you think of 18-wheelers climbing snowy passes. You think RVs are dragging full-grown boats. You think power. Diesel was their throne, and they wore the crown with pride. But here's the thing. This year, Cummins recently did something that made jaws drop harder than a thrown piston rod. They announced their first ever gasoline engine. So what gives? Why on earth would Cummins risk it all by diving headfirst into gasoline engines? It sounds almost scandalous, right? Like a rock star swapping guitars for a piano mid-tour. You see, Cummins' B6.7 diesel engine has been the undisputed heavyweight champ of medium-duty trucks for decades.
Anywhere you go, you open the hood of a truck and you see a red engine, and you know that's a Cummins engine.
We're talking about a platform that's been refined and redefined since the early 2000s, delivering anywhere from 260 to 325 horsepower and torque figures that can push 750 pound-feet. That's serious muscle. The B6.7 diesel is known for its durability, fuel efficiency, and the kind of grunt that doesn't quit on the steepest hills or longest hauls. It's the engine you trust when failure isn't an option. And for years, it's been the gold standard in vocational trucks, school buses, delivery vans, you name it. Now, fast forward to March 4th, 2025. Cummins drops a bombshell in their newsroom, the B6.7 Octane, their first ever gasoline-powered engine built on that legendary B-platform DNA, but running on regular 87 octane gasoline. Yes, gasoline, the very fuel that diesel purists love to snub. This engine packs up to 300 horsepower and 660 pound-feet of torque, numbers that rival its diesel cousin. But here's where it gets juicy. It's 10% more fuel efficient than other gasoline engines in its class, requires no diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, no complex after-treatment systems, and boasts an oil change interval stretching to 15,000 miles. Imagine the maintenance savings alone. It's a diesel-like performance with gasoline's simplicity. This move shocked the industry, because honestly, we did not expect it. Cummins, the diesel royalty, stepping into gasoline territory. It's like the king swapping his crown for a jester's hat. But look closer. This isn't a betrayal of diesel. It's a strategic pivot, a way to capture new markets, especially in states like California, where emissions rules are tightening faster than ever. The B6.7 Octane meets EPA 2027 and CARB low NOx standards, meaning it's ready to play by the strictest environmental regulations on the planet. No smoke, no fuss, just clean, efficient power. Car and Driver caught wind of this and called it a game changer for medium-duty trucks. The B6.7 Octane comes in 4 output levels, offering flexibility for different applications. And without the need for DEF tanks or active regeneration cycles, it's a low-maintenance workhorse. For fleet operators, that's a big deal. Less downtime, lower costs, more miles on the road. But here's the kicker. This engine isn't just about specs. It's about what it signals. Cummins is telling the world that diesel isn't the only game in town anymore. They're hedging their bets, embracing fuel diversity, and pushing the envelope on innovation. It's a wake-up call to competitors and customers alike. The future of medium-duty powertrains is more complex and more exciting than we thought. So, is this a betrayal of Cummins' diesel legacy, or a smart evolution that keeps them ahead of the curve? The answer isn't simple, but one thing's for sure: the industry's landscape just shifted under our feet. And the question now is, how will diesel loyalists respond? Will they adapt, or dig in their heels? And can gasoline really deliver the durability and torque we've come to expect from Cummins? Stick around, because next up, we're diving deep into the B6.7 Octane itself. We will look at the specs, the tech, and why this engine might just be the gasoline game changer everyone's been waiting for. Can a gasoline engine really shake up an industry built on diesel? Meet the B6.7 Octane, the gasoline game changer. This isn't just any gasoline engine, it's a 300 horsepower, 660 pound-foot torque monster on regular 87 octane. Yeah, you heard that right. Not premium, not diesel. Regular pump gas. And Cummins did more than just dip a toe into the gasoline game. Seeing these stats, it's true to say that they cannonballed in and made a splash loud enough to shake the entire medium-duty engine market to its core. But before we get too deep into combustion chemistry and torque curves, let's just pause and acknowledge what's happening here. Cummins, a name basically tattooed on every diesel mechanic's heart, just rolled out their first ever gasoline B6.7, and it's not some side hustle or eco-PR stunt. No DEF or complex emissions puzzle, just raw, optimized power with a 10% better fuel economy than any of its gasoline competitors. Wild, right? Now, here's what you need to know. The B6.7 Octane isn't reinventing the wheel here.
Today I want to show you one of our exciting new products. This is the HV950 B6.7 diesel engine train.
It's refining the game so ruthlessly that competitors might need a therapy session. First up, let's talk numbers. This beast comes in 4 different output levels, with horsepower ranging from 200 to a spicy 300, and torque starting at 600 and climbing all the way to 660 pound-feet. That's borderline diesel territory, my friends. And unlike diesel engines that ask you to sacrifice your weekend to emissions maintenance, the DEF tanks, DPF regenerations, and SCR headaches on this engine play a different game. It's all handled with a passive 3-way catalyst. No extra fluids or after-treatment juggling act. Just plug and play. Can you even imagine what that does for uptime? For fleets running vocational trucks, delivery rigs, or school buses, that's not just a performance win. Instead, it's an operational revolution. However, Cummins pulled this off while still keeping the engine EPA 2027 and CARB compliant. Let that sink in. We're not talking about some wild prototype or limited market novelty. This engine is certified, tested over 2 million miles, and already being spec'd into real-world workhorses. From vocational haulers to municipal fleets, this thing's not just a concept anymore. Instead, it's here with us. And while diesel fanboys might scoff and say, gasoline can't take the heat, Cummins came ready with receipts. Not only does the B6.7 Octane deliver better fuel economy of up to 10% better than other gasoline engines in its class, but it also extends oil service intervals to 15,000 miles. That's more time on the road, less time in the shop, and way fewer headaches for fleet managers balancing uptime and maintenance budgets. Let's break that down in a minute. You've got an engine that pumps out 300 horsepower and 660 pound-feet of torque. If that's not wild enough, it runs on standard 87 octane gas and requires 0 DF or after-treatment maintenance. Is that not a steal, my friends? Moreover, this means you will have improved your fuel economy by nearly 10%. And if you aren't sold already, let me add in the fact that it's capable of hitting up to 15,000-mile oil change intervals and meets EPA 2027 and CARB emissions standards. Now tell me, does that sound like a gimmick? Or does it sound like Cummins just walked into the gasoline world and said, we're here to dominate? And the brilliance of it all, it's fuel agnostic by design. That means the same engine architecture can pivot to natural gas, propane, or even hydrogen in the future. They didn't just build an engine, they built a platform for the future. One that doesn't ask the industry to choose between power, compliance, and practicality. It gives you everything with no compromises. But here's what really hits home. This isn't some flashy electric dreamscape that's 5 years out and charging in beta mode. It's tangible, functional, and available in the general market as we speak. The B6.7 Octane isn't just trying to be sexy, it's trying to work. And work it does. Harder, longer, cleaner. Whether it's racking up school routes, dumping loads at job sites, or making food deliveries across urban grids, this engine says one thing loud and clear: gasoline's not dead. It just got a Cummins badge. So what's really going on under the hood here? What kind of engineering voodoo makes a gasoline engine this efficient, this clean, and still this powerful? Get ready, because in the next chapter, we're cracking open the block and going deep into all of it. How did Cummins pull this off? Under the hood. How did Cummins pull this off? How do you turn a diesel icon into a gasoline innovator without losing your soul? That's not just a cute tagline. That's the million-dollar riddle Cummins had to solve when they looked their legacy straight in the face and said, "Let's blow it up and rebuild it better." Because when you're known for powering the backbone of American industry, that includes buses, pickups, and box trucks. You don't just pivot, you overhaul and outthink. And somehow, Cummins did exactly that, introducing the B6.7 Octane.
Thank you for joining us today. In a minute or two, we will be introducing you to the 2010 ISB 6.7-liter engine.
A gasoline engine born from a diesel dynasty. And the kicker is, it's not just new. It's disruptive. A clean sheet, fuel-agnostic, efficiency-stacked mechanical chameleon that runs so smoothly makes other gas engines feel like clunky throwbacks. This isn't some one-off experiment for headlines. This is the start of a system. A whole architecture designed to handle diesel, natural gas, hydrogen, and now gasoline. What Cummins is doing here is not just engineering, it's re-engineering expectations. Now, here's what you need to know. The B6.7 Octane is part of Cummins' fuel-agnostic Helm TM platform. This modular base allows multiple engines to share 80% of their components. Think of it like a mechanical DNA strand that adapts depending on what fuel you feed it. Diesel? Sure. Natural gas? Absolutely. Hydrogen down the line? They're ready. But this time gasoline's getting its glow up. And get this, it shares the same block and guts as its diesel sibling, which means parts compatibility across fleets and easier servicing, which means cost savings for owners. And if you're running a mixed fuel lineup in 2026 and beyond, this engine isn't just convenient, it's a game changer. But let's go deeper. How'd they actually pull it off? The real alchemy happened inside the VPI lab at Cummins' Rocky Mount engine plant. That's where the alpha builds, the earliest physical versions of the Octane, were hand-assembled in near-production conditions. They weren't just testing for power, they were stress-testing reality. Could this engine slot into existing production lines? Could it beat the heat of uptime demands? Could it think like a diesel, but breathe like gasoline? Under the hood, the B6.7 Octane isn't just running, it's thriving. According to official specs released at NTEA Work Truck Week, this engine delivers greater efficiency than its closest gasoline rivals. And that's not marketing fluff. It also extends oil service intervals to an impressive distance. According to Cummins, this engine is able to pass emissions compliance without the diesel headache. This means no diesel particulate filter, selective catalytic reduction system, or DF tank to babysit. Instead, a clean, simple three-way catalyst. It's like Cummins looked at the emissions checklist and said, how about we ace the test with less homework? This isn't just smart, it's surgical. A platform that feels familiar for fleets, but runs cleaner, cheaper, and simpler. And if you're picturing this as a Frankenstein mashup of gas and diesel tech, think again. This thing is sleek. The Octane gets custom cylinder heads and fuel systems precisely tailored for gasoline combustion, not just recycled from diesel blueprints. It's like they borrowed muscle from their diesel DNA, but tuned it to sing a different key. Cummins didn't build this engine just to tick boxes or win awards. They built it because the future of transportation isn't a monolith, it's a mosaic. Gasoline still has a place in certain applications, especially where diesel's price and complexity hurt margins. The B6.7 Octane fills that gap without compromise. It's technical brilliance, but it's also deeply strategic. Because here's the truth, no one wants to say out loud that legacy diesel is under pressure. Regulations are tightening, electric promises are overhyped, and alternative fuels still a decade from full-scale takeover. That leaves a window, a narrow lane where gasoline can dominate if done right. Cummins knew this, and they didn't wait to be disrupted. They became the disruptor. So when the B6.7 Octane hits the market in 2026, it won't just be the first gasoline Cummins. It'll be proof that flexibility and future readiness can coexist, that diesel giants can pivot, that engineering isn't about staying loyal to tradition, but mastering evolution. But here's the next big question. Who's it for? Is this a play for Ford and Ram fleets? Last-mile delivery? Municipal service trucks? Or something bigger? Who's it for? Market moves and strategic gambits. Is this engine for truckers, farmers, or someone else entirely? That question echoes through every dealership, fleet office, and farm supply store from Bakersfield to Buffalo. Because let's be honest, when Cummins drops a gasoline bombshell after a century of diesel dominance, everyone wants to know who's about to cash in on this revolution. Let's start with the obvious. Medium-duty trucks. Kenworth's Class 5-7 lineup is first in line, and honestly, it's a match made in horsepower heaven. Picture those iconic Kenworth cabs rolling off the lot, now with the B6.7 Octane under the hood. No DF tanks, no active regeneration, just pure diesel-like torque, up to 660 pound-feet on regular 87 octane. For delivery fleets, utility companies, and municipal work crews, that's a recipe for fewer headaches and more uptime. You know those trucks you see hauling construction gear, delivering groceries, or plowing city streets at 4 a.m.? That's the battleground. And Cummins just showed up with a secret weapon. But here's where it gets interesting. School buses. Yes, the yellow icons of American childhood. The B6.7 Octane isn't just for cargo, it's for kids too. School districts are desperate for cleaner, simpler, and more reliable engines that can survive stop-and-go routes, freezing winters, and summer heat waves. With EPA 2027 and CARB certification, this gasoline engine slides right into California's strictest school bus emissions requirements, with no diesel smell, no DEF, and just a smooth, quiet ride. And with oil change intervals stretching to 15,000 miles, those buses spend more time running routes and less time in the shop. Can you imagine the relief for fleet managers? Trust me, it's like Christmas morning. And then there's the wild card, vocational vehicles. We're talking tow trucks, dump trucks, box vans, and even quirky airport shuttle buses. The B6.7 Octane's modular design means it can be upfitted for almost anything. Automotive World reports Kenworth is offering tank options from 45 to 80 gallons. So whether you're hauling gravel or hauling people, you get the range you need. For bodybuilders, the simplicity of gasoline is a win-win. But don't sleep on agriculture. DTN Progressive Farmer broke the story. Cummins isn't just eyeing trucks. They're looking at tractors, sprayers, and all those machines that keep America's fields humming. Farmers want torque, reliability, and low maintenance. 3 boxes the B6.7 Octane checks with a thick, black Sharpie. Plus, with the engine's fuel-agnostic DNA, you'd better believe Cummins is thinking about future-proofing for biofuels, or even hydrogen down the road. Imagine a world where your tractor, grain truck, and delivery van share the same core engine. That's not just efficiency, that's a logistical dream. Now, let's talk strategy. Why is California such a big deal? Because California isn't just a state, it's the regulatory trendsetter for the entire country. The B6.7 Octane's CARB certification means it's ready to play ball in the toughest market. When California moves, the rest of the US usually follows. Cummins is positioning itself years ahead of the competition, offering a gasoline solution that's already compliant with rules that won't even hit the books until 2027. That's not just smart, that's ruthless. But here's the twist. This isn't about abandoning diesel. At the NTEA Work Truck Show, Cummins rolled out the B6.7 Octane right alongside their new X10 diesel, the 6.7-litre turbo diesel, and a sneak peek at the next-gen B-Series diesel. It's not a funeral for diesel, it's a family reunion. Cummins' Helm strategy, which means higher efficiency, lower emissions, multiple fuels, means they're playing every angle. Diesel for the heavy haulers, gasoline for the emissions battlegrounds, natural gas for specialized fleets, hydrogen for the future. No matter what fuel the world throws at them, Cummins wants to be the answer. So who's this engine really for? The answer is everyone who's tired of choosing between complexity and compliance. It's for the fleet manager who's sick of DF alarms at 2 a.m. It's for the school district that wants clean buses without the electric price tag. It's for the farmer who needs torque, not trouble. And yes, it's for the trucker who wants to get the job done. No drama or downtime. But here's the real question. Is Cummins hedging its bets? Or are they quietly rewriting the rules for every engine maker in the game? Can a gasoline engine really steal the diesel crown in the toughest markets? And what happens when the rest of the industry wakes up to this new reality? Next up, we're pulling back the curtain on Cummins' multi-fuel master plan. Is this the end of diesel, or just the beginning of something even bigger? Diesel, gasoline, or both? The multi-fuel master plan. Is Cummins ditching diesel, or doubling down on everything? Because let's face it, when the king of diesel suddenly drops a gasoline bombshell, you don't just ask why, you ask, what's next? And if you're a competitor, you might be sweating a little right now. Let's talk strategy, because Cummins isn't just playing checkers, they're playing four-dimensional chess with the entire powertrain industry. The B6.7 Octane is just the opening move. Underneath the headlines, there's a much bigger game unfolding, and it's called Helm. Higher efficiency, lower emissions, multiple fuels. That's right, not one fuel, not two, but a whole buffet. Cummins has a plan for diesel, gasoline, natural gas, and hydrogen. Pick your poison. Start with the B6.7 Octane. Sure, it's gasoline-powered, but it's built on the same modular, fuel-agnostic platform as Cummins' new diesels and natural gas engines. That's not an accident, it's a masterstroke. The B6.7 Octane shares its core block with the X10 diesel and the X15N natural gas engine, and it's already being prepped for future hydrogen variants. Think about the possibilities. One engine family, multiple fuel options, all engineered to swap components as easily as changing shoes. That's efficiency. That's future-proofing. That's a shot across the bow for every rival still clinging to a single fuel playbook. But here's where Cummins really flexes. While the world obsesses over electrification, Cummins quietly keeps diesel innovation alive and kicking. The X10 diesel. Still a beast. The new X15D, unveiled at the Brisbane Truck Show, is pushing the boundaries of what diesel can do. Higher power, lower emissions, and a design ready for tomorrow's regulations. So no, diesel isn't dead, not by a long shot. Cummins is just making sure it's not the only show in town. Let's not forget natural gas. In January 2025, Cummins teamed up with Liberty Energy to launch the industry's first variable speed, large displacement natural gas engine for hydraulic fracturing. While some are just dipping their toes in the alt fuel pool, Cummins is cannonballing in. Their X15N natural gas engine isn't just a science project. It's already shaking up the oil fields and heavy-duty trucking routes where diesel once ruled supreme. And then there's hydrogen, the ultimate wildcard. Cummins' fuel-agnostic architecture is already being tested for hydrogen combustion, and you'd better believe they're not stopping there. The Rocky Mount Engine Plant's VPI lab has cranked out alpha prototypes, stress testing every bolt and gasket under near production conditions. Hydrogen may not be mainstream yet, but Cummins wants to be first in line when it is. But here's the twist. This isn't just about engines, it's about compliance. The B6.7 Octane is already EPA 2027 and CARB certified. so it's ready for California's infamous emissions gauntlet, years before most rivals even have a prototype. For fleet operators, that's a golden ticket. No scrambling to retrofit engines, no panicked last-minute purchases, just smooth, compliant power, whether you're running diesel, gasolines, or something in between. So, what does this mean for the future? Is Cummins hedging its bets, or are they quietly rewriting the rules for everyone else? The answer is both. By offering a multi-fuel lineup, Cummins is making sure it's never caught flat-footed, no matter how quickly the regulatory winds shift. It's a strategy that says, we're not picking sides, we're building the whole stadium. But let's get real for a second. There's a rumor swirling. Could we see a gasoline-powered heavy-duty pickup from Cummins? Or maybe a hydrogen-powered Class 8 rig rolling down I-80? If you're a competitor, you're probably feeling the heat. If you're a customer, you're suddenly spoiled for choice. And that's the real genius here. Cummins isn't just selling engines. They're selling options, flexibility, peace of mind in a world where the only constant is change. Diesel, gasoline, natural gas, hydrogen, pick your lane. Cummins will meet you there, wrench in hand, ready to go. So, is this the end of diesel? Or just the beginning of something even bigger? And what happens when the rest of the industry wakes up to this new reality? Industry reactions. How are Cummins' rivals reacting, and is anyone losing sleep over it? Buckle up, because if you thought the B6.7 Octane was just another engine launch, think again. This kind of industry shakeup has boardrooms buzzing, diesel diehards clutching their DEF tanks, and social media lighting up with hot takes faster than you can say, Octane boost. Let's set the scene. For decades, Cummins has been the diesel kingpin, the name that makes competitors sweat and fleet managers sleep easily. So when the company drops a gasoline engine with 300 horsepower and 660 pound-feet of torque, running on plain old 87 octane, you bet the industry grapevine goes into overdrive. First up, the skeptics. Picture the comment sections on Car and Driver and Automotive World. It is so wild. You can almost hear the collective gasp from diesel loyalists. Some are already calling it a sellout move, while others are frantically searching for the fine print. No DEF, no active region, and it still meets EPA 2027? That's not just disruptive, that's scandalous. But here's the thing, not everyone's crying foul. There's a wave of awe rolling through the forums. Did you see the fuel economy numbers? One user posts, followed by a string of fire emojis. 10% better than the competition, and it's already racked up 2 million real-world miles. That's not vaporware, my friends. That's a shot across the bow. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, you can bet the competition is scrambling. Rumor has it, a few rival engineers have been spotted at truck shows, with notepads in hand, trying to decode Cummins' modular fuel-agnostic playbook. Is this the moment when the old guard pivots or digs in deeper? Word on the street is that a couple of major OEMs are already fast-tracking their own gasoline and hybrid prototypes, because nobody wants to be the last one holding a diesel-only portfolio when the music stops. And let's not forget the media. Headlines range from Cummins shocks industry with gasoline gamble to diesel dethroned, each one amping up the drama. Even the agricultural press is weighing in, speculating about gasoline-powered tractors and harvesters. Can you imagine a world where Cummins engines are as common at the county fair as they are on the interstate? Wild, right? So is there panic? Maybe not full-blown chaos, but there's definitely a lot of late-night strategizing, some nervous laughter, and more than a few what-if conversations happening at rival HQs. Because when Cummins moves, the whole industry pays attention, and this time, the ripples are turning into waves. What's next? Rumors, hopes, and wild predictions. If Cummins can go to gasoline, what's next? Electric? Nuclear? Okay, maybe not nuclear, yet. But let's be real. The B6.7 Octane has blown the doors wide open, and now everyone's playing the what-if game. First, let's talk pickups. The rumor mill is in overdrive. Will we see a gasoline Cummins under your next Ram 2500 hood? The official word is medium duty only for now. But if this engine nails its debut in Kenworth's Class 5-7 trucks, you can bet the calls from pickup fans will be deafening. Imagine all that torque, no DF headaches, and a Cummins badge on the fender. Truck forums are already flooded with photoshopped mock-ups and wish lists longer than a kid's letter to Santa. But here's where it gets spicy. Cummins isn't just dabbling in gasoline. They're going all in on a fuel-agnostic future. That means one core engine block, but you pick the fuel: diesel, natural gas, hydrogen, and now gasoline. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure for fleets. And with California and other CARB states tightening the screws on emissions, this flexibility could be the ace-up Cummins sleeve. Now, let's go full speculation mode. If Cummins can make gasoline work for medium duty, what's stopping them from scaling up or down? Some insiders whisper about a smaller displacement version for light-duty vans, maybe even a hybrid variant. And don't forget, Cummins is already deep into natural gas, with their Liberty Energy partnership rolling out a variable speed, large displacement natural gas engine for oil fields. Hydrogen? It's not science fiction anymore. The X15N and future B-Series variants are already in the pipeline. And what about full electric? Don't count them out. Cummins has been quietly investing in battery tech and electric drivetrains, even if they're not ready to slap a Cummins electric badge on a big rig just yet. But with the industry's eyes on decarbonization and Cummins' track record of pivoting before the curve, it's not a matter of if, but when. Let's not ignore the competition. If Cummins can pull this off, you know the other diesel giants are watching, nervous, inspired, maybe a little jealous. Will we see a gasoline Cat, a hybrid Detroit? The race is officially on, and the old rules just got tossed out the window. Here's where you come in, viewers. Drop your wildest predictions in the comments. Will Cummins double down on gasoline or leapfrog to hydrogen and electric? Will diesel make a comeback? Or is this the start of a new era? Should we expect a Cummins-powered flying truck by 2030? Okay, maybe not, but hey, stranger things have happened. All in all, if there's one thing we know, it's that Cummins loves to surprise. And this is just the beginning. So, is this the end of an era or the start of something even bigger? Cummins' gasoline gamble with the B6.7 Octane is more than just an engine launch. It's a signal that the rules are changing and the future is wide open. Diesel isn't dead, but the game just got a whole lot more interesting. Join the debate in the comments on what's next for Cummins. See you in the next one.